Hi everyone, welcome back to Trees and Turtles. My name's Imogen. In today's video, I'm taking you with me on my trip to Prague. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that. Give this video a thumbs up, follow me on Instagram, and let's get started. So, you might have seen my first video in the series, which was my trip around Warsaw. I'm on a backpacking tour of Europe. I'm going to 10 countries, and this is country number 2. So, I'm currently in Prague. I got the overnight bus, which is why I have the same outfit, basically, as in my other videos. I'm deciding that this is intentional. This is overnight bus chic, okay? So appreciate it. But basically, I'm just gonna look at the architecture, and the first stop is the astronomical clock. Now, yesterday I was a bit ambitious, and I am kind of guilty of being a bit ambitious with the itinerary. I didn't get to do everything I wanted to do because, like, I had to walk a hell of a long way. I walked nearly 30,000 steps yesterday, and I was very tired and I didn't have enough time. But I am confident that, because everything I want to see, like today, is actually quite close together, I can do it. So I am... That is a bus. There's actually a lot of trams here as well. I'm going to give you a quick, like, 360 of the square I'm in, because I think it's really pretty. Got a very sort of Barbie core building behind me right here, and then this is just a lot of really stunning, like, classic architecture. Anyway, we are going to the astronomical clock, so let's go. So this is the Powder Gate Tower, and it's one of the original city gates, so it's among the oldest buildings, and it's just sort of casually around the corner. Like, I wasn't expecting to see this, and then I just looked up and I was like, that looks important, I'm gonna look up what it is. So yes, this is part of the original city gates. I've just been reminded that this charming little museum exists. When I was looking on TripAdvisor, they recommended this was a thing to do, but I'm trying to, like, reduce my anxiety on this trip and not increase it. And it turns out it's closed anyway, but I just happened to walk past it. I arrived in the town square. Now behind me, up here, that is the Church of Our Lady Before Tyne. And over here, that, we're gonna go look at it in a minute, that is the astronomical clock. So, again, looking at all the architecture around here, extremely classic, lots of monuments. You can see that one there, and also that one there behind me. We're going to take a closer look at each of those, but I was very excited to see the astronomical clock because I just love sort of mechanisms and architecture, and this is an architectural mechanism, so that's really exciting. There are obviously lots of other clocks in the square, but this one is like the big one, and it is very fancy, so here it is. So this is the Prague Astronomical Clock. Obviously a big theme of a lot of stuff around here is that it's, like, quite highly religious. So you can see obviously it's, like, on the outside of a church, and there's a bunch of different sort of symbols related to, like, the saints and the seasons. So there's a lot of, like, culture and history here. And I actually, you know, obviously, like, I think that is fantastic, but I think something else that's really fantastic is, like, the variety of colours that they've got on the buildings here, because I mean, you don't necessarily see that in the UK quite as much as you do on mainland Europe. So just, like, I really appreciate when I come to Europe and I just see that they've actually put some colour into their architecture, because that's something that's unfortunately a bit rare back home. Alright, I promised you we'd come back over here, and here we are. So this is the Jan Hus monument, and this sort of memorializes kind of a historical religious conflict, but it's also kind of a metaphor for the rebirth of the nation. And over here we've got the Marian column, so called because Mary, the Virgin Mary, as in Catholic figure of legend, is on top, and you can tell by the stars in her crown. Now, fun fact about me, I was actually raised Catholic, so anything you want to know about Catholicism, I'm your gal. So I'm now in the Jewish quarter of Prague, and this is the Spanish synagogue, which is a sort of big landmark in the area. As you can see, some very distinctive architecture, which is kind of mirrored by the entire area. And I'm going to take you along with me, and we're going to explore a bit more. So this is the Church of St. Simon and Jude, which is just up the street from the Spanish synagogue. Also back down there is a memorial, like, statue of Franz Kafka, and I think this really showcases just how crucial and important Jewish culture has been to the city of Prague, and obviously still continues to be, because this area is just completely stunning. Like, I'm absolutely blown away by it. I mean, just literally just look, like I don't even need to do any explaining. It's just like, I feel like I'm completely surrounded by the most amazing history here, and obviously current culture as well. Okay, I had to come back and show you the statue of Franz Kafka because I don't think this tour would be complete without it. So this is the Charles Bridge. They started construction of this, one of the oldest in the city. Started construction in 1357 and finished about 50 years later. I'm actually standing on the next bridge along, obviously, so I can actually see it, because if I stood on the bridge then you wouldn't be able to see it. But this vantage point is also great for looking at kind of the whole city. Like, you get a really, really good view from here. And there you go, that's back into town and then back to the bridge. But I particularly like this section. I feel like this might make a good sort of thumbnail for the video. Also, worth noting that I'm holding my phone very tightly because I don't want to drop it in the water. So I'm now walking up the steps towards Prague Castle. It's a bit steep, but that's to be expected because the castle's on a hill, obviously. But I'll let you know when I get to the top, so we take a look at the castle. Right, so this is the view from the top of the battlements. You can sort of see all across the city over here. Climb was exhausting, but like, definitely worth it. 100%. I mean, also, look over here. That's where we were before. So, here is Prague Castle. Finally made it to the top. Honestly, if I was an invading army, I would have given up halfway up because that was a steep climb. Or maybe I'm just unfit. Anyway, this is very, very important building. It dates back to the 12th century and it's obviously a very popular tourist destination, but as well as that, it's also the site for many very important official events. And it's sort of in the centre of a complex. There's a lot of buildings around it, including several churches behind me, including that one. And it's basically in a big sort of complex with a wall and like battlements around the sides, and there's a bunch of churches, but this is the main sort of central castle. It looks like it took a lot of effort to build because those spires, for example, very, very intricate. Like, I'm very impressed by the sort of level of detail in the Prague architecture that I've seen today. So I am about to leave Prague and jump on a bus to go to Slovakia, Bratislava in particular, which I'm very excited about, but that means that this is the end of the Prague vlog. So I just wanted to give a few like little reflections on what I thought of Prague in general. So I really, really liked Prague. I actually liked it more than I thought I was going to, and I think I liked it more than Warsaw. It's actually really chill. The architecture is stunning. Like, if you can, go and visit the Jewish Quarter because it's gorgeous. And it just seems to have a really, really nice vibe. Like, I like the vibe here better than I like the vibe in Warsaw, although Warsaw was also cool. I do think the architecture is a little bit less varied here. It does seem to have a much more cohesive style. But what else? I thought that the people were quite friendly, and yeah, I had a great time. Although the walk up to the castle is very, very steep, it is nevertheless worth it. So I guess those are my sort of initial thoughts on Prague. Now, something that's really important to note is that obviously this is just like a tiny, tiny snapshot, and there is way more to Prague than I could do justice in this little mini vlog, but I hope this has given you a taste of kind of what it's like to visit Prague as a tourist, and hopefully inspired you to go here because it is a wonderful place to visit and a place that I've enjoyed very, very much. So without further ado, if you're not already subscribed, make sure to do that because you want to see the rest of my Europe trip, don't you? Follow me on Instagram and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in Slovakia. Okay, bye!